Welcome to the Nordic Venture Show, your speed date with the hottest Nordic innovations and ventures. In this episode, our venture date is with Yazen, guided weight loss with medication and support.
Okay, so you know that feeling when you think about really losing weight and then keeping it off, and it just feels like this massive thing that you're probably never going to actually manage to do.
Right.
You know, maybe you felt it, or, someone who's tried all these different diets and nothing seems to really work for the long term.
Yeah. I think a lot of people out there have struggled with this for a long time.
Yeah, and well, that's kind of what we're going to look at today, but with a bit of a different approach from this company called Yazen.
Oh, yeah. I looked at the stuff you sent me. It's really interesting.
Yeah.
Yazen, they started in Sweden back in 2021, and they're all about, digital healthcare, helping people deal with being overweight or obese.
Yeah, and they have this interesting About Us page and
Yeah.
all these country pages with these testimonials, so you can really get a good sense of what they're about.
Yeah, it gives you a pretty good overview of how they approach it all.
Right, and that's what we're going to try and do today for you listening. We're going to really get into the core thinking of how they approach weight loss and what they call this modern method.
Yeah.
What does that actually mean, and what are people saying about their results with this?
Let's dig into it.
Yeah.
And I mean, right off the bat, they say something pretty bold,
Yeah.
Lasting weight loss, has felt impossible for so many people.
Until now.
Until now, exactly.
Yeah.
So what do you think about that? Right away, they're coming out strong.
Yeah, they are. I mean, it definitely feels like a very optimistic message.
Yeah.
And I think what makes it seem believable, at least on the surface, is they say, their vision is really ambitious.
Yeah.
They want to help the entire world get past this issue of overweight and obesity.
Right. It's a huge goal.
It's a massive goal
to take on.
And it would be easy to be cynical about that, but they're also saying that everything they do is based on science.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Which is important, I think, in this area.
Yeah, in a field where there are just so many fad diets and quick fixes,
Yeah, exactly.
To say that they're grounded in science, that's really key.
And it's not just that. They're saying, they have a patient-centered approach.
Right.
Which means that they look at each person's individual needs.
Yeah, it's not just a one-size-fits-all kind of program.
Exactly.
They're really focusing on the individual.
Right.
And they also mentioned that they want to stay at the forefront of this whole field.
Yeah, they want to be the cutting edge.
Yeah, always keeping up with the latest research and knowledge about obesity treatment.
So it's not a static thing, it's constantly evolving.
Exactly. It sounds pretty dynamic.
Yeah. And then we get to this idea of the modern method. And I think it's really interesting that they acknowledge that overweight and obesity are way more complicated than just calories in, calories out.
Yeah, science has come a long way in understanding this, right?
Right. And they're saying that they're building on those new insights.
Yeah, so what are the key elements of this modern method?
Well, it looks like they have these 3 pillars.
Okay.
Medication, evidence-based lifestyle coaching,
Right.
and then these accessible digital tools.
Interesting. So they're not just focusing on one thing.
No, it's like they're coming at it from all these different angles.
Yeah, it's a multi-pronged approach.
Yeah,
Which makes sense because it's a complex issue, right?
exactly.
So incorporating medication, that's a pretty big deal.
Yeah, it shows they're acknowledging that sometimes there's a biological component that needs to be addressed.
Right. It's not just willpower or making better choices. Sometimes there's more to it.
And then this evidence-based lifestyle coaching.
Yeah, so it's not just random advice. It's stuff that's been shown to actually work.
And it's personalized, so it's tailored to each person.
Yeah, and then the digital tools that provides that constant support.
Yeah, you have access to it whenever you need it.
Yeah, which can be so helpful, right?
And they also say something interesting. They say they believe in their patients,
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
not just in us.
Yeah, what do you think they mean by that?
Well, it seems like they're really emphasizing the importance of that relationship.
Right, they're in it with you.
Yeah, and that they believe in their patient's ability to succeed.
Yeah, that's a powerful message.
Yeah, and then there's the name Yazen.
Yeah. What's up with that?
It's not a common word, right?
No, not at all.
So they explain it on their website,
Yeah,
and they say it comes from the Swedish word for way,
okay.
but they connect it to these bigger ideas like balance, justice,
Right.
equality.
It's really interesting, right?
Yeah, it's like they're saying it's not just about the number on the scale.
No, it's about something more holistic,
Right.
this sense of well-being.
Yeah, and then they talk about how the name Yazen has different meanings in other cultures.
Oh, yeah, like what?
So in Turkish, it can mean meditate or contemplate.
Okay.
In Persian, it's think or reflect. Arabic, it's more like deeper thought.
Interesting.
And then you have snig, which is apparently New Zealand slang.
What does that mean?
It means like stylish or good looking.
Oh, okay. So it's a totally different vibe there.
Yeah. And then in the UK, it's more like, I do now.
So like commitment.
Right.
Wow, that's a pretty broad range of meanings.
It really is. And it makes you wonder if they chose the name on purpose.
Yeah, maybe they were going for something with a global appeal.
Yeah, that could be it. And then they tie it all together with their own program, which is called Jag gör nu.
Which means?
That's I do now in Swedish.
Oh, okay. So it's all about taking action.
Right. And they say their program is about balancing body, mind, and soul.
That makes sense.
For lasting weight loss.
Yeah, it's not just a physical thing.
No, it's all connected.
So it's not just a random name. It actually reflects their whole approach.
Exactly.
So what about the people who actually work with the patients? Who are the experts involved?
Well, they emphasize that they have this multidisciplinary team.
Okay.
Which is a good sign, right?
Yeah, it means they're recognizing that there are a lot of factors that go into weight management.
Right. So they have doctors, Yazen coaches,
okay,
dietitians, personal trainers, and psychologists.
Wow, so they've got all their bases covered.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive.
Yeah, so let's break down what each of these specialists does, starting with the doctors. What's their main focus?
So the doctors are all about the medical side of things.
Okay.
They're the ones who manage the medication.
Right, so they decide what medication is appropriate.
Yeah, they do the initial prescriptions and renewals.
Uh-huh.
And importantly, they monitor how the medication is working.
Making sure it's effective and that there aren't any problems.
Exactly. And they also look at the patient's overall progress.
And they can provide medical documentation if needed.
Right, like if you need a note for work or something.
Exactly. And they point out that these doctors are specialized in overweight and obesity.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're not just general practitioners.
So they really know what they're doing.
Yeah, they have that specific expertise.
That's great.
And then there are the Yazen coaches. What do they do?
So the Yazen coaches, they're like the main point of contact for the patients.
Okay.
They're the ones who guide you through the whole program.
So if you're having trouble with, like, your eating habits, they can connect you with a dietitian.
Exactly. And if you're struggling emotionally or you're losing motivation, they can put you in touch with the psychologist.
So they're like care coordinators, making sure you get the right support.
Exactly.
At the right time.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. And then there are the dietitians. What's their role?
So the dietitians, they're the experts on food and nutrition, obviously.
Right.
And they provide really personalized advice.
So it's not just like, here's a generic meal plan.
No, they take into account your lifestyle, your cultural background, what you like to eat.
And what about any side effects from the medication?
Yeah, they help you manage those too.
Like if you're having digestive issues?
Exactly. They make sure that your diet plan is working with the medication.
So it's all coordinated.
Right.
Okay. And what about the personal trainers? How do they fit in?
So the personal trainers, they create exercise plans for each person.
Okay.
But they take into account your current fitness level, any medical conditions you have, any limitations.
So it's safe and effective for you.
Right. And it's not about pushing you too hard right away.
Right.
It's about finding ways to move your body that you can actually stick with.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And that will improve your health over time.
And then finally, the psychologists, right?
Yes.
It's great that they're including mental health professionals.
I think it's really important.
Yeah, because losing weight can be really tough emotionally.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what do the psychologists focus on?
So they help you deal with all the emotional stuff that comes up.
Okay.
Body image issues, the feelings that come with changing your diet, staying motivated when it's hard,
Right.
and just supporting your mental well-being throughout the whole process.
It's acknowledging that this is a mental and emotional journey as much as a physical one. So overall, it sounds like they have a really well-rounded team.
Yeah, I think so. It seems like they've thought about all the different aspects.
And who are the people behind all of this? Who are the leaders of Yazen?
Well, on their About Us page, they highlight some key figures.
Okay.
So you have Otto Bretz. He's the Chief Technology Officer and co-founder. And he was also a co-founder of MinDoctor.
Which is?
That was one of the first digital healthcare providers in Sweden.
Okay, so he's got a lot of experience in this area.
Yeah, he knows how to build and scale digital health platforms.
That's crucial for a company like Yazen.
Exactly. And then you have Dr. Martin Carlson. He's the chief medical officer and another co-founder.
Okay.
And he's an endocrinologist.
So he specializes in hormones.
Yeah, and he's done a lot of work in diabetes, internal medicine, clinical chemistry.
Wow.
And he's also done research on obesity and metabolic disorders.
So he really knows this stuff.
Yeah, he's got the medical expertise and credibility.
And who's in charge of, like, the business side of things?
So that would be Magnus Nyland.
Okay.
He's the chief product officer, co-founder, and chairman of the board.
That's a lot of hats.
Yeah, he's a busy guy. And he also co-founded MinDoctor.
Okay.
And he has like over 20 years of experience in digital education and healthcare.
So he's got the business and strategy side covered.
Yeah, and it seems like he's really focused on using technology to improve patient support and outcomes.
That's a good combination, right?
Yeah, they have the medical expertise and the business know-how.
Yeah, it sounds like a really strong team.
They also mention other key people in finance, marketing, medical operations, and technology.
So they've got a whole team of experts behind them.
Yeah, it's a pretty impressive setup.
Now, what about the people who have actually used Yazen? What are their experiences like?
Well, that's where the testimonials come in.
Right.
They have all these testimonials on their country pages.
They're pretty compelling. Yeah.
They are. So,
Yeah.
for example, there's Gemma Collins.
I know her. She's pretty famous in the UK.
Yeah, she's a big TV personality.
Yeah. What did she say about Yazen?
So she says she lost 2 dress sizes in just 2 months.
Wow. That's significant.
Yeah, and she was using the Yazen app and medication.
Okay.
And she talks about feeling healthier and happier and finally free from constantly thinking about food.
Which can be such a struggle.
Yeah, and she also mentions overcoming bullying that was related to her weight.
Oh, wow. That adds a whole other layer to it.
Yeah, it really shows the emotional impact.
And then there's Alex.
Yeah.
What was her experience like?
So Alex, she gained weight as a side effect of mental health medication.
Oh, that's tough.
Yeah. And she says that the daily support from her Yazen coach was really helpful.
Mm-hmm.
And she liked the balanced approach to food.
Okay.
And she's even talking about wanting to do more challenging hikes.
Oh, like what?
She wants to climb Kilimanjaro.
Wow, that's ambitious.
Yeah, and it really shows how her confidence and her physical abilities have improved.
Inspiring, right?
Yeah. And then there's Erica. She's a photographer, and she went to Yazen for help with high cholesterol.
Interesting.
And she says they gave her this really comprehensive guidance.
Like what kind of guidance?
Medication, diet, exercise, emotional support.
Wow. So the whole package.
Yeah, and she says she's never felt this level of support before.
That's really powerful.
Yeah, it shows that they're really committed to helping people succeed.
And what about Annie?
So Annie, she struggled with weight management for years, especially after having kids.
Yeah, that could be a really tough time.
Yeah, and she says that she feels much more positive about her future and her health now.
So it's given her hope.
Yeah, it's like she feels like she's finally in control.
And what about Marie Fritjof?
So Marie, she had all these health problems.
Like what?
High blood pressure, snoring, acid reflux, gout.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah, and she'd kind of given up on losing weight.
Yeah.
But then a colleague recommended Yazen, and she decided to try it. And she says that all those health problems have gotten better.
So it wasn't even just about the weight loss.
No, it was about her overall health improving.
That's amazing.
And then there's Linda.
Okay.
So Linda, she actually had gastric sleeve surgery, but then she gained some of the weight back.
Yeah, that can happen.
And she went to Yazen, and she's lost 20 kilos.
That's great.
And she says she feels more energetic and happier.
So even if you've had other weight loss interventions, Yazen can still help.
Yeah, it seems that way.
And finally, Daniel Kuhn.
Yeah.
What was his experience?
So Daniel lost 34 kilos.
Wow, that's a huge amount.
Yeah, and he says the main reason he wanted to lose weight was to avoid getting diabetes.
So he was thinking about prevention.
Exactly.
That's really smart.
Yeah, and it shows how important weight management can be for your long-term health.
It's not just about aesthetics.
No, it's about preventing serious health issues.
So all these testimonials are from such different people.
Yeah.
With different backgrounds and different challenges.
And they all found success with Yazen.
Yeah, it really shows that their approach can work for a wide range of people. So beyond all of this, like the method and the team, what about the practical stuff?
Yeah.
Like how accessible is Yazen? And do they offer any guarantees?
Well, because it's a digital platform,
Yeah.
you have access to it 24/7.
That's super convenient.
Yeah, you can use it whenever you want.
And what about guarantees?
They have a risk-free 30-day money-back guarantee.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. So if you're not happy with it, you can get your money back.
That takes away some of the risk.
Exactly. And they're also available in a bunch of European countries.
Like which ones?
Sweden, Norway, Spain, the UK, the Netherlands, and Germany.
So they're expanding.
Yeah, it seems like their model is working and they're growing.
Okay, so let's sum it all up for our listeners.
Yeah.
What are the key things to remember about Yazen?
So it seems like their main approach is this really comprehensive and integrated strategy.
Right.
They combine medication that's prescribed and monitored by doctors who specialize in obesity with personalized coaching and support from a whole team of experts.
Dietitians, personal trainers, psychologists, the whole works.
Exactly. And it's all delivered through a digital platform, so it's super convenient.
Yeah.
And they're really committed to using scientifically proven methods.
And to focusing on the whole person.
Right. Not just the physical aspects, but also the mental and emotional well-being.
So the big takeaway here
is that lasting weight loss might not be as impossible as it seems.
Yeah, they're offering a different way of looking at it.
They're saying you don't have to struggle alone.
You can have a whole team of people supporting you.
And they can help you address all the different factors that are contributing to your weight.
It's not just about willpower or making better choices.
Right.
It's about understanding the complexities and having the right support to overcome them.
So here's something for you to think about.
Okay.
If you've been struggling with your weight,
Mm-hmm.
and it feels like you're fighting a losing battle.
Yeah.
Could this kind of approach, this multifaceted, science-backed approach, be a better way forward?
It's definitely something to consider.
Think about all the elements we've talked about.
Yeah.
The medical support, the personalized coaching, the focus on mental well-being, and see if it resonates with you.
Maybe this is the missing piece.
It could be.
It's definitely worth exploring.
Yeah, it's a new way of thinking about weight loss.
That could make a real difference.
For a lot of people.
Yeah, it's an exciting possibility.
Thanks for listening to the Nordic Venture Show. Don't forget to subscribe and stay tuned for more stories of innovation from the Nordics.